This is a short video on United States weekly field production of crude oil. It's been a long journey since the 1980s, but I thought I'd just do a quick recap of where we are today. So as you can see, I mean, this is a lot of oil for most countries, but you can see that our production went down over time. And then around here, you have the shale revolution start, maybe around 2000, or around here. And then the industry got stabilized, and then it just took off and took off again. With the peak of, this says the peak of 13 million barrels per day back in early 2020, and then we had the pandemic, and then production just fell off a cliff. So what's happened since then? We've had fits and starts, but right now we are at 13 million 2 barrels per day, and last week we ticked down to 13.1. Now, the actual peak was 13,000. I think it was 13,000. We'll check that in a moment. So anyway, oil production increased a lot during these years and these years. And this was primarily due to the discovery of shale drilling techniques. Some of this might have been horizontal drilling as well. But we are back up at record production, and you can see the corresponding result of increases in production here, although there are other reasons for that. But for most of the past year, oil's traded between about 82 and 66, which is a pretty low range. Then OPEC did a few output cuts, and then we had a peak in late September of about 95, and then it just cratered down to about, 69? It's a pretty good bounce on Friday. Let's see, 2.73%. Question is that sustainable? OPEC around here was talking about another 2.2 million barrel per day cut, and you normally would expect that to, cause the price of oil to bounce. But there are some non-OPEC countries that don't want to cut their quotas. There may be cheating in the past anyway. Back in the 2000s, OPEC had quotas, but there were countries that cheated. They pumped more than their quota because they want the revenue. Saudi Arabia wants quotas cut, and they could actually just drop production by 2.2 million barrels per day themselves. They don't want to bear the burden of that cut. Saudi Arabia is in the process of trying to transition to a post-oil economy, and they need an oil price above $90 to do that. So they are under some financial pressure to pay for social programs to get the price of oil to, get back up here, which is, looks like it's a pretty hard thing to do. So let's go over to the production numbers. This is a pretty cool web page, Petroleum and Other Liquids Energy Information Administration. And it goes back to 1983, and it tells you the amount of production by week. And so we can go back to the 1980s, and you can see it rising. You can see it falling through a long period of time into the early 2000s. And this is kind of the reason that we had the oil crisis of 2000, the Middle East war, and so on. kind of the Middle East war thing kind of comes back and forth through the last 50 or 60 years. So then we start to see it ticking up with the shale revolution. Continues to go up, 7 million, 8 million, 9 million, 10 million, and then we come to 2020 or COVID. So this, okay, so the previous record was this week here at 13.1 million barrels per day. So it got to here, then it pulled back, then it got to here 13.1 again, and that was the peak. And then we go to 12, 10, oops. Okay, so we dropped to, looks like a low of 9,700, and then we pick back up again. Here's another 9,700. But anyway, at the beginning of January, we were at 12.2, and then by early October, we were at 13.2. So we went from 12.2 in January to 13.2 in October, or we increased production 1 million barrels per day in 9 months. So what I'm curious about is if we could actually increase production to 14.2 million barrels if we wanted to. Offhand, my guess is yes, but I don't work in the industry, so I don't really have any clue. But anyway, we pumped 13.2, 13.2, 13.2, 13.2, and the last week here's 13.1. So it looks like, you know, we go back, where's October? Here's October, okay? So this is where we showed that we increased production to a record level. And we held this record level through this entire decline. And we got this one downtick in production, and now we're here. So it is possible that U.S. producers have dropped their production as the prices decline. Maybe some of those wells aren't profitable at these prices. But at any rate, it kind of shows you that U.S. technology and ingenuity can respond to certain types of crisis, and energy is one of the more important ones. I'm kind of astounded at, you know, we're producing 13.1 million barrels every single day, and that amount of oil astounds me. I think U.S. consumption is like 20 million barrels per day. So I don't know how that works out, whether we're importing it from Canada or Venezuela or some other places. I know that we export a lot because I think we produce a lot of light sweet, and the U.S. refiners, I think, prefer heavy or maybe heavy sour. So it's kind of, you know, trading. But that's kind of a picture of where we are for crude oil, and I think it's an interesting look, and it's probably one of the reasons why the U.S. economy is doing so well. I know a lot of people complain about how difficult things are, and consumer sentiment. Well, people say the consumer sentiment is low, but the actual numbers came in on Friday at 69 when it was expected at 61. Retail sales have also been strong. So people are complaining a lot about the economy, but their spending habits kind of say a different thing. Anyway, that's my take on oil.